You ever feel like your life's on autopilot only to realize you've been flying straight into a storm the whole time? My name's Zach Monroe. I'm 34, a mechanic here in Savannah, Georgia. Not flashy, not loud, just the kind of guy who keeps his head down and gets things done. I work at Coastal Motors near the historic district. It's grease-stained floors, busted radiators, and long hours. I've never minded that. Hard work's honest. Dependable. Like I used to be. A year ago, I moved in with my girlfriend Jenna. She's 29, part-time yoga instructor, full-time dreamer. Wants to be an influencer, you know the type. Ring lights, hashtags, those glassy-eyed selfies. But I loved her. Or thought I did. She had this little girl, Chloe, 6 years old. Sweetest kid you'll ever meet. Called me Z the first week I met her and it just stuck. Jenna didn't have much work. Said she was building her brand. So I paid the rent. Covered the groceries. The electric. Car maintenance. School supplies for Chloe. I didn't keep a scoreboard. It felt right. Felt like being a man. Like showing up for your people. And Jenna? She showed me enough smiles to make it feel like we were building something real. We'd walk with Chloe in Forsyth Park, get ice cream, laugh like a real family. But something in her started changing. Nothing obvious. Just quieter mornings. Late night yoga classes that ended after midnight. Always that phone flipped face down. I told myself not to overthink it. People get tired. Maybe she was stressed. Maybe I was imagining things. But you know what they say about gut feelings? They're usually right. The first real crack showed the night I found her old iPhone, the one she claimed was broken. It wasn't. Not even close. I should have confronted her right then. But I didn't. Because I had a better idea. Something slower. Quieter. Something she'd never see coming. I waited until Jenna took Chloe to her mom's that weekend. Said they were having a girls' night with face masks and popcorn. I told her to take her time, that I'd be working late at the shop anyway. As soon as they left, I pulled the phone out of the drawer. It still had 12% battery. The passcode was the same as always, her birthday. She hadn't changed it because she never expected I'd check. I never had before. But I'd been picking up on the lies for months now, and I wasn't about to let her keep gaslighting me into thinking I was just being paranoid. First thing I checked? Messages. Not iMessage. No, she was smarter than that. Everything was happening on Instagram DMs and WhatsApp. And there it was, Mason Rivers. Name didn't mean anything to me at first, but his messages did. Missed you last night. Still thinking about that rooftop kiss. I love when you wear that red dress. No one makes me crazier. My stomach twisted. There were pictures too. Not explicit, but close enough. Her in front of the Grove bar, leaning into him. Her hand on his chest. One of them laughing in his car. Timestamps lined up with nights she told me she was teaching yoga downtown. She'd been sleeping with him for at least 2 months. Mason Rivers. Bartender at the Grove. I Googled him. Tall, tattooed, works nights. The opposite of me in every way. Fast talking. Probably fed her dreams of beach trips and sponsorship deals between shots of overpriced bourbon. I stared at that screen for a long time. Not angry. Not hurt. Just cold. I could have kicked her out that night. Could have smashed the phone or waited up just to see her lie to my face again. But what's the point of rage when silence cuts deeper? That night, I opened a notebook and wrote one word at the top. Consequences. She thought she'd fooled me. That I was just a quiet, dumb mechanic too busy with oil changes to notice. But what she didn't know, what none of them ever figure out, is that the quiet ones. We're the ones who plan. After I found those messages, I started watching Jenna closely. Not in the obvious way. I didn't check her phone again. Didn't bring it up. I smiled. Kissed her cheek. Made dinner like nothing had changed. Because the best way to catch a liar is to let them keep lying. I started keeping track. Dates. Times. Excuses. A private list on my phone. Late class, 7:45 p.m. Returns 12:02 a.m. Wearing makeup, no mat in car. That kind of thing. And while I was at it, I took inventory of my garage tools. That's when I noticed things were missing. Not much at first. My torque wrench. Then my impact driver. A week later, my entire Snap-on ratchet set was gone. All top-tier stuff. Expensive. Specialized. Tools I'd spent years collecting, piece by piece. I asked Jenna once, casually, if she'd moved anything. She said no, probably just misplaced them. I nodded, pretending I believed her. But I already knew. She hadn't misplaced them. She'd pawned them. I drove to 3 different pawn shops around Savannah. On my second stop, I found it, a Milwaukee socket set. My initials still scratched into the back from when I was 19 and dead broke, praying it wouldn't get stolen on the job. I paid $120 for that, the shop owner said. I paid him $130 and took it home. The pawn slip had her name on it. That night, Jenna came home late again. Said Chloe had fallen asleep at her mom's, so she stayed to help clean up. She was wearing the same lipstick Mason said he liked in that message. I just smiled. Asked how her evening was. Told her she deserved a break. Inside, I was sharpening the knife. Because now it wasn't just betrayal. It was theft. She was selling pieces of my life behind my back while I was helping raise her daughter and keeping the lights on. She thought I didn't see her slipping away. She had no idea I'd already started building her cage. When Jenna and I first moved into the apartment near the historic district, it was under my name. Clean credit. Steady job. The landlord liked that. A month later, Jenna asked if we could add her to the lease, said it would make her feel more secure. I agreed. Because back then I still believed we were a team. But now I saw it for what it was, a setup. She wanted leverage. And if things went sideways, she'd have a legal foothold. Well, not anymore. I took a personal day from Coastal Motors and headed straight to the Chatham County Courthouse. Sat down with a clerk and explained I needed to review my lease agreement quietly, no drama. Then I called the landlord. Told him Jenna had been considering relocating and I didn't want her name affecting the terms if she left suddenly. He understood. Said the lease would revert to me only at the end of the month if she didn't re-sign. Perfect. That gave me a timeline. I also opened a new checking account just in my name. Changed direct deposit at the garage. Then I ordered a separate debit card Jenna didn't know about. I stopped using our joint card altogether. She didn't notice, too busy filming downward dog TikToks and chasing validation online. Then I called a friend of mine, Ray, former coworker turned private investigator. He owed me one from back when his car broke down mid-divorce and I stayed late to rebuild his transmission on a Sunday. Need you to follow someone, I said. Nothing flashy. Just pattern and proof. He didn't ask questions. Just said send me a photo. That night, I cooked dinner like usual. Jenna was scrolling her phone, Chloe doing homework at the table. And I looked across at her, the woman who was draining me dry, lying to my face, walking out every other night with someone else in her lipstick. She smiled like everything was fine. And I smiled back. Because by the time the lease expired, she'd be standing in a minefield. And I'd be holding the trigger. 3 days later, Ray called. You were right, he said. She's not even being careful. He sent me the photos. Jenna in a black tank top and yoga pants, except she wasn't coming from a class. She was walking into the Grove through the back entrance where employees usually slip in. An hour later, she and Mason were in his truck, parked in the alley behind the bar. Windows fogged. Her hair a mess when they finally got out. I didn't flinch when I saw them. I just saved everything to a hidden folder in my cloud drive labeled taxes. Ray sent timestamps. Locations. Mason's schedule, he worked nights Wednesday through Saturday. And sure enough, those were the exact nights Jenna had private clients or late yoga sessions. She even used Chloe as an excuse once, saying the kid had a school function I'd never heard about. She'd built an entire fantasy life around her lies. But now I had facts. Cold. Hard. Legal. I started laying the groundwork for the next step, exposure. Not shouting. Not confrontation. Just positioning. I created a burner Instagram account. No followers. No posts. But I followed Jenna, Mason, and about 30 people in their circle, other yoga instructors, bar regulars, a few influencers Jenna tried to network with. I started watching every story she posted. Screenshotted the ones where she claimed to be in class while Ray had her across town. There were plenty. Then I did something small but deliberate. I bought a second phone. Cheap. Prepaid. Untraceable. I used it to send a single message to Jenna's business email, pretending to be a brand rep from a local activewear company. Saw your yoga content, let's connect. Her response came within the hour, links, her rates, even a media kit with her download stats. She was desperate for fame. Perfect. Because desperation always makes people sloppy. That weekend, I picked up Chloe from school while Jenna was networking. We got ice cream. We laughed. She called me daddy when I fixed her broken necklace with a zip tie from my keyring. That one word hit harder than anything else. Because Jenna might be cheating on me. But Chloe? She loved me like I was the only real man in her life. And I was about to make damn sure her mother learned what happens when you betray someone who shows up. It was a Thursday night when the last piece snapped into place. I was going through mail on the kitchen counter while Jenna was in the shower. Most of it was junk, pre-approved cards, coupons, a flyer for a landscaping service we didn't need. But one envelope stopped me cold. A letter from a credit union I'd never used. Thank you for opening your new personal line of credit. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe just a random mailer. But the name on the account, Zachary Monroe, and the address, ours. My hands stayed steady as I read every word. The approval notice said the account had been opened online 2 weeks ago, maxed within 3 days. I checked the email used for the application. It wasn't mine, but it was a variation of Jenna's. The kind she used when she didn't want to be tracked. She'd used my name, my social, my damn credit. $4,500 was gone. Most of it transferred to a PayPal under her name. The rest spent at boutique stores I'd never even heard of. I checked the full credit report that night. She hadn't just opened one line. There were 2 more. One for electronics, one for home decor. Both maxed. And I hadn't seen a single piece of it in this house. I didn't rage. I didn't yell. I just stared at the screen and breathed in slow. Because now it wasn't just cheating. It was fraud. She was gambling on me never noticing. That I'd keep paying bills, playing family, while she drained my credit dry for some fantasy lifestyle with her bartender side piece. Well, she just made this a whole new kind of war. The next morning, while she was in bed editing another fake self-care morning video, I made 3 calls. First, to the credit union's fraud department. I told them the accounts weren't authorized, and I had no knowledge of the applications. Second, to a lawyer someone Ray recommended. Third, back to my landlord. Let's move that lease update up, I said. End of the week. He agreed. By the time Jenna rolled over with her fake sleepy voice and asked what I was doing, I kissed her forehead. Just bills, I said. And in a way it was true, because the bill was coming due. She just didn't know it yet. By Friday afternoon, the lease was updated. Her name was officially off. No notice, no drama. Just a quiet signature and a handshake with my landlord. He even gave me a pat on the back and said, "You deserve better, man." I didn't respond, just nodded and walked back to my truck. The silence was louder than any revenge I could have shouted. That weekend, Jenna posted a story with the caption, "Love my little family." Saturday mornings like this forever 2 hearts sparkles. It was a picture of Chloe in her pajamas and me cooking pancakes in the background. She had no idea I'd seen her DMs to Mason just 12 hours before, promising she'd figure it out soon, and that Zach's too boring to notice. She was planning her exit. She just didn't realize I'd already locked the door behind her. Sunday night, I filed the official notice with Chatham County. Unauthorized occupants, fraudulent financial activity, potential identity theft. I included every detail, every document, photos, pawn shop slips, credit reports, even screenshots of her conversations, discreetly labeled and time-stamped. Monday morning, I walked into work at Coastal Motors like nothing happened. Changed oil, replaced brake pads, joked with the guys, but inside, something had shifted. I wasn't the quiet, dependable guy she thought she could cheat on anymore. I was the man setting the fuse. That night, Jenna asked me why I'd stopped sleeping with her. "You've been distant lately," she said, playing with my shirt collar. "Is everything okay?" I looked her right in the eyes and smiled. "Yeah, just tired. Probably from carrying this whole life on my back." She laughed, not realizing that in 72 hours, she'd be standing outside with no key, no access to our account, and no legal rights to the apartment she called home. Oh, and Mason? He wasn't going to open the door either. I'd already taken care of that. By Wednesday, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Jenna had stopped posting yoga selfies. Her phone barely buzzed. That's how I knew something was coming. The silence wasn't peace. It was planning. That night, I came home to find her folding clothes into a duffel bag on the couch. She turned around, fake surprise on her face. "Oh, hey," she said. "Just packing a few things for Chloe and me. Going to stay at my mom's for a few nights." I nodded slowly. "Everything okay?" She hesitated. "Yeah, just some space. I think it'll be good for both of us. I'll be back this weekend to get the rest of my stuff. No anger, no accusations. Just that calm, self-justified tone cheaters always use when they think they're winning. I didn't argue, didn't beg, just helped her carry the bags to her car. Chloe was already buckled in the back seat, waving at me like she had no idea this was supposed to be goodbye. "See you soon, Z," she said. I smiled. "I'll see you, kiddo." Jenna hugged me like a woman doing me a favor. "I hope you'll take this time to reflect," she said. I almost laughed. Instead, I just said, "Yeah, I think I will." She pulled out of the lot with confidence, like a woman leaving behind a man she'd outgrown, probably heading to Mason's, where she expected a champagne welcome and a new chapter of freedom. Except Mason didn't answer the door that night, because earlier that day, I sent him something. Private message. No name, no threats, just a shared link with screenshots of Jenna's messages. Not the sweet ones, the ones where she bragged about using him, about milking Zach a little longer, and calling Mason a backup plan. The final photo? A picture of Jenna, sleeping in our bed. Mason's name saved in her phone as Tuesday/Thursday. He read it all, and apparently, it hit him harder than expected. Because Jenna texted me at 1:12 a.m. "Where the hell is Mason? He's not answering. Did you say something?" I didn't respond, because this wasn't about Mason. It was about showing her that every step forward she thought she'd taken was a step straight into quicksand. By Friday, she was texting nonstop. "Zach, we need to talk. Can we just be adults about this? It's not what you think." That last one always cracks me up. They never think you'll find out, and when you do, it's suddenly all a misunderstanding. I didn't reply. I was too busy watching her name get removed from our utility accounts and closing the last shared bank card we had. That was the final string. All that remained was the eviction notice, filed, stamped, and waiting. And I didn't have to lift a finger, because when you legally remove someone from a lease, and they leave voluntarily, they can't just waltz back in. So when Jenna showed up Saturday morning, Chloe in tow, trying to unlock the door with her old key, it didn't work. She knocked, then she pounded, then she called. I let it ring, then her tone changed. "Zach, I have Chloe with me. Don't do this. Let us in." I opened the door just wide enough for her to see my face. "You can leave her with me," I said calmly. "You're not on the lease anymore. You don't live here. You're unbelievable," she hissed. "After everything I've done for you?" I raised an eyebrow. "You mean lying, stealing, and screwing a bartender behind my back?" She flinched. That hit landed. "This is illegal," she shouted. "No," I said, holding up the court paperwork. "It's official." She stood there frozen, processing that her little escape plan had turned into a total shutout. I didn't think you'd do this," she whispered. "That's the problem," I said. "You never thought I was capable of walking away, of being cold." I looked at Chloe, standing by her mom, holding a small backpack and looking confused. "You can stay here tonight," I told Jenna flatly, "for her sake. But tomorrow, you'll need to find somewhere else." That night, she sat in the guest room, silent. I stayed on the couch. Chloe fell asleep watching cartoons like nothing was wrong. But everything was, and Jenna knew it. She had no money, no man, no home. She thought she'd traded up. But all she'd done was burn the only bridge that ever carried her. By Sunday morning, she was gone. She didn't say goodbye, just packed Chloe's things, slammed the door, and left. I watched from the window, no drama, no begging, no final speech, just silence. The same silence she gave me for months while sneaking off to Mason's. Except now, she was the one on the outside. That afternoon, I made a single phone call to Jenna's mother. She always liked me, said I was steady, good for Chloe, and the only man Jenna ever brought around who didn't talk about himself for an hour. I kept it simple. "Jenna might be staying with you for a while. She's going through a situation." She sighed. "What did she do this time?" I didn't answer that. I didn't have to. Within 24 hours, Jenna's social media started changing. The yoga posts stopped. The morning smoothie boomerangs vanished. Her followers started commenting things like, "Are you okay?" and "Where's Chloe?" Then someone tagged me in a story, Jenna's influencer friend accidentally posted a clip from a rooftop party at the Grove weeks ago. Mason and Jenna, arms wrapped around each other. The same weekend Jenna told me she was at a mindfulness retreat in Tybee Island. The video went viral in our circle, and it didn't take long for more dirt to surface. A different yoga instructor posted, "Don't partner with fake energy. Real wellness doesn't involve betrayal." Another commented, "Funny how fast people go silent when the free rides stop." She tried to delete her account. Then she reactivated it and posted some half-baked apology about self-discovery and being misunderstood. No one bought it. Because you can fake photos. You can fake captions. But you can't fake character. Meanwhile, I filed to officially remove her from all remaining responsibilities on our shared accounts. Closed out the bills. Switched Chloe's school contact info. By Tuesday, the only thing Jenna had left was her reflection. And even that was starting to crack. Because when the world you built was all smoke and filters, the truth hits like a hammer. The last time I saw Mason in person was 2 weeks ago when I walked past the Grove during my lunch break. He was behind the bar doing his usual routine, smiling too wide, laughing too loud, like he was auditioning for a reality show no one was filming. He didn't see me, but I saw him. He looked like a man who thought he was untouchable. That changed fast. Because after I sent him those screenshots, Jenna calling him a temporary upgrade, telling a friend he was fun but broke, he went ghost. I never said a word to him. Didn't have to. The truth did all the talking. On Wednesday, Jenna showed up at the Grove. Middle of the day. No makeup. Sweats. Eyes red like she hadn't slept. She waited at the side door like she used to sneak in through. Mason never came out. I heard about it from a friend who works the valet next door. Said she waited 45 minutes, pacing, texting, calling. Then she tried to walk in. Manager stopped her. "Not your scene anymore," he said. She left crying. Mason blocked her on everything the same day. Instagram, phone, WhatsApp gone. Just like that. Because guys like him? They're only loyal when it's easy. When the drinks are flowing and the girl has a place to sleep and a man to cheat on. But when the rent's due and the kids crying and the brand deals dry up, they run. She'd bet her whole future on him. Now she had nothing but a suitcase and a 6-year-old asking when she could go back to Z's house. That's the part that hurt me the most. Chloe. She didn't choose this. She didn't ask for a mother who lied and schemed and traded love for attention. She just wanted pancakes on Sunday mornings and someone to help with spelling words. And I would have given her that forever. But her mom? She sold it all for clout. And now? Even the spotlight was gone. The letter from the courthouse hit her doorstep on a Friday. Certified mail. Final notice. She signed for it herself. I saw it on the delivery confirmation. A week to vacate what she no longer had a legal right to. And this time there was no more "Zach will fix it." No more calling her mom for a rescue either. She'd already burned that bridge when she showed up screaming about being unfairly treated and tried to move back in. Her mom took Chloe. Told her it was just for a little while. But I knew better. That little while was about to become permanent. Because I'd also filed for a custody inquiry not out of spite, but out of duty. Chloe needed stability. And now, with Jenna bouncing from couch to couch with no income, no address, and a stack of unpaid credit card bills she never thought I'd see. It wasn't hard to prove who had been providing all along. The only thing Jenna had left was her pride. And even that was unraveling. She showed up at Coastal Motors that Monday. Not yelling. Not crying. Just hollow. She waited outside the garage until my shift ended, leaning against the hood of her old Civic like the wind had taken everything out of her. "I know you hate me," she said as I approached. I didn't answer. I made mistakes. But Chloe, she still loves you. She talks about you every day. I nodded. I know. She called me last night. Her eyes widened. "She's safe," I added. "Your mom's taking good care of her." "I don't have anywhere to go," she said, finally letting the mask crack. "Mason's gone. My mom's done. I don't have a job, Aya." I held up a hand. Calm. Controlled. "I'm not here to hurt you, Jenna. I never was." "Then why are you doing this?" she whispered. "Because you did this," I said softly. "I just stopped letting you hide from it." I pulled out the final document, her formal release of any claim to our apartment, the utilities, and Chloe's custody. "I'm not taking you to court," I said. "But if you sign this, we're done. No more lawyers. No more games. You let her live a real life. And you go figure out who you are without stealing from people who love you." She stared at the paper. Then, with shaking hands, she signed it. That was the moment it ended. Not with a fight, but with ink. The week after Jenna signed the papers, I filed for a business license. Monroe Auto Repair. It was a name I'd kicked around for years, always in the back of my mind, scribbled in notebooks, half-planned during late nights at Coastal Motors. But I never took the leap. There was always a reason not to. Rent. Risk. Jenna. But now? There was nothing in my way. I rented a small lot off Victory Drive. Old garage with 2 bays, oil-stained floors, and a rusted-out sign I ripped down myself. I spent the next month rebuilding it. Painted the walls. Replaced the lifts. Ordered fresh uniforms with my name stitched across the chest. Hired Marcus, a guy I used to mentor at Coastal. Sharp kid. Hungry. Loyal. Word spread fast. Savannah's a small town. Customers from the old shop came looking for me. Heard you started your own thing, they'd say. Figured I'd come where the work actually gets done. I didn't advertise. Didn't need to. By month 2, I had more business than I could schedule. And for the first time in years, I woke up without dread. No lies. No unpaid bills hiding in drawers. No wondering where she was at night. Just me, my tools, and honest work. And Chloe. Her mom still called sometimes, short, clipped conversations filled with regret she couldn't say out loud. She asked about Chloe's school, her favorite foods, if she still asked about her. I gave her the truth. Always calm. Always factual. But she never asked about me. And that told me everything I needed to know. Then one afternoon, Chloe handed me a crayon drawing. Me standing in front of a garage, big smile on my face. Her next to me holding a wrench. Above us in pink scribble. Monroe Auto Repair, we fix cars and make you happy. That one went on the wall. Right above the counter. Because no matter how deep someone stabs you, if you build something stronger in the ruins, you win. Quietly. Permanently. I didn't hear from Jenna for weeks. Then one night, I got a DM from an old friend of hers, some social media girl she used to film yoga videos with. We'd never spoken, but I guess she felt like stirring the pot. The message was simple. Thought you'd want to see what your ex is up to. It was a screen recording from TikTok. Jenna, Liv, sitting in her car, crying into the front camera. Begging for understanding. Talking about how people turned on her, how she lost everything over a miscommunication. She blamed toxic negativity for the downfall of her brand and said people chose to believe lies. She never once mentioned me by name, but she talked about being used, abandoned, and manipulated. Projection at its finest. The comments weren't kind. People dragged her for pretending to be a healing coach while cheating, stealing, and dragging her own daughter through the mud. Someone posted clips of her and Mason from the Grove party. Others stitched in clips from her earlier manifestation videos. The fall was fast. And loud. She deleted the live after 20 minutes. But the internet doesn't forget. That was the day her last partnership dropped her, the fitness drink company she was always promoting. They released a short statement about misalignment of values. She went from almost verified to invisible in 2 weeks. And me? I spent that day under a '67 Camaro restoring the suspension with Marcus. Grease on my hands. Classic rock playing. Sun shining through the open bay doors. It was quiet. Honest. Real. That's when a woman walked in. Mid-30s, work boots, dark jeans. Said her name was Claire. Owned a landscape business down the road. Her truck was acting up. We started talking while I ran diagnostics. She was sharp. Kind. Asked real questions and listened to the answers. Later that week, I fixed her truck. She brought me lunch from a deli nearby. Said thanks and left her number, no games, no fake smiles. Just real. That night, I didn't think about Jenna once. And for the first time since this all started, that felt like the biggest win of all. 6 months passed. Chloe was still living with her grandparents. I visited often, took her to the park, helped her with school projects, let her ride shotgun when we drove around Savannah running errands for the shop. Every time I dropped her off, she'd hug me tight and say, Z, you're still my family, right? And I'd look her in the eye and say, always. Jenna, though? She never got back up. After losing the apartment, the brand deals, and Mason, she tried to launch a podcast, Healing from Harm, or something like that. It tanked. Too many receipts floating around. People don't forget when you cheat, lie, and fake your way through life. She tried reaching out a few more times. Emails. A letter. Even left a voicemail once, crying about Chloe, about how she didn't know who she was anymore. I didn't respond. Because there was nothing left to say. The day the final custody paperwork came in, I didn't celebrate. I just sat on my porch, watching the sun drop behind the trees, and felt a weight leave my chest. It wasn't about winning. It was about freedom. That same week, Claire came by the shop again, not for truck work this time. Just to bring coffee. We talked for an hour. No pressure. Just two people with scars learning that not everyone you meet is there to take something from you. She asked once about Jenna. I told her the truth, but not all the details. Just that some people teach you who you never want to be again. She nodded. Sounds like you came out stronger. I looked around at the sign over my shop, the laughter from Marcus and the guys, the grease on my hands, and the kids' drawings still taped to the wall. Yeah, I said. I did. As for Jenna? Last I heard, she was living in a studio apartment out in Pooler, working front desk at a gym that didn't even offer benefits. Her influencer account's gone. Her dreams are dust. And Mason? He's bartending in Jacksonville now. Some girl posted a photo of him online with the caption, "All charm, no substance." Sounds about right. I didn't need to destroy them. They did that on their own. All I had to do was step out of the way and build something better. Monroe Auto Repair is now booked out 2 weeks in advance. I've got regulars, a good crew, and my name on the building. And maybe something real with Claire starting to take shape. Jenna once told me I was too quiet, too predictable, too stable. Funny thing is, those were the exact traits that helped me outlast her. Revenge doesn't always look like fire and fury. Sometimes it looks like peace, silence, and a life rebuilt so strong no one like her could ever touch it again.